Brahmacha lokadipati sahampati Katanjali anadivarang ayachata Sandita sata parajaka jatika Desetu dhammang anukampimang pujang.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. There are times in life where we experience worries, fears, anxieties. Some of these worries and fears are irrational. Some of them are actually rational. But either way, there is a wise way to deal with fear. There's a wise way. Now, some of the fears that the Buddha talked about, some of the things that could happen in the future, which is wise to consider, is a lack of security. Now, there are foolish ways to approach a lack of security in the future as well. Whether it's financial security, health, these are things that we worry about. But the security that the Buddha was referring to goes much deeper than that. As long as we haven't attained the first level of enlightenment, one of the levels of enlightenment, then the future is insecure. So how do we deal with a rational fear? This is something that even the Buddha said, well, this is a danger. Now we don't want to deny the danger. We don't want to live in denial, because that's not very helpful. But we don't want to live in fear as well. We don't want to live motivated by worry, motivated by fear. That's a real shame. Thinking of the future, worrying about the future, all the things that could go wrong, and that, even if that habit, that subtle habit, is in our mind, it directs our life, and it drains our life of joy. So what's a wise way to deal with even the dangers that the Buddha talked about, the dangers that we should consider? Even if fears are irrational, doesn't really help that much to try to convince oneself they're irrational. But if you bring your awareness into your body and really feel, you really feel the physical sensations, the effects of that mental state, then you can help to relax on the physical level. Maybe you notice tightness in the gut, maybe you notice in the shoulders, other places in the body. Regularly doing that, helping the body to relax, because the body and mind are interrelated, then the fears will tend to relax as well. So this helps to create new habits. But the fears that might come from recognizing that our future is insecure, how do we deal with that? The Buddha gives us a very clear way to deal with it, right? The whole path of practice, everything that he talks about is a way of overcoming any tendency to live in fear. Now, if we practice, for example, the path, generosity, morality, loving kindness and compassion, continuity of mindfulness, investigation based on samadhi. These are things that will give us the best option for the future. Life, every single day, is filled with opportunities for making good karma. There's just no end to the opportunities that we have every day to make good karma. And we all need as much good karma as we can get. So look at something very simple like generosity. Pali, we call it dana. So this doesn't just refer to giving material things to other people. This can also refer to giving one's time, giving one's attention. These are valuable things as well. In the modern world, time is so valuable. Being able to give time to someone who needs a kind word. Being able to give time to children, give time to parents. This is a renunciation. This is sometimes takes an effort. And you don't have to do huge things, right? If you have the ability to feed thousands of hungry people, then that's wonderful. If you have the ability to build monasteries, that's wonderful. But very recently, in Thailand, I was looking out the window and I noticed a young schoolgirl in a school uniform, and there was this street dog, really bad shape, very thin. And she reached into her lunch bag and brought out some bread for the dog, just feeding the dog. And it was something that was so simple, this act of giving, this act of generosity, and it was so natural. It's like you see a living being in need, and then that little girl was just motivated. I mean, I'm sure she was on her way to school. She had things to do. But just to take that little bit of time, that little bit of time, reach into your bag and offer a bit of food to the dog. A very small gesture, but but very beautiful, right? And so much of our the results of our generosity, the results of our support and helping, is based on our intention, how clear our intention is. There are many times that we do things throughout the day where we're helping other people. We're helping people with our family, we're helping people at work, we may help strangers. But then really giving ourselves credit for that, paying close attention when we do that. Monastic life is filled with opportunities for helping, especially as a junior monk in the Ajahn Chah tradition. Every day in monastic life, there's just so much that we do to help the senior monks, to help everyone in the monastery. Help them with their robes, clean the senior monks' huts. Comes back from alms round, we wash their feet. Right. And it's not based on whether we like or respect someone, right? Some great teachers, they come back from alms round, going alms round barefoot through the village, come back, feet are dirty, have a little foot bath. Some teachers is like, oh, it feels like such an honor to wash the feet of this teacher. But then there's other senior monks, you think, oh, maybe he's not so wise. Why should I wash his feet? But that limit, that perception limits our mind. And then just to be able to do that with an equal amount of dedication and sincerity. Whether we respect and like somebody or we don't respect and like somebody, simply because this is another human being, and this is an opportunity to help somebody else out, even if it's just a small gesture. The size of the gesture is not the key element. It's one element, but the intention. If we overcome the inclination just to guard our time, my time, my things, my everything that we identify with, and overcome that, even in small ways, just to be able to give something wholeheartedly. Give time, give attention, give effort, give help. And then even if we do many things throughout the day, even with the proper attitude, sometimes we're so busy that we don't really give ourselves credit. Time goes by and we're helping here and helping there, and then we don't really reflect on how good that is. And so that's also an aspect of receiving the benefits, living the benefits of helping others. So if you have a clear intention, then we're very mindful why we do something to help somebody else out, and then afterwards reflect on that. As a novice, I got into the habit of, before I went to sleep at night, I would reflect, think back. Were there any times that I could have helped somebody else out throughout the day? But I decided not to. Maybe I was too lazy. Maybe I decided to, just to skip it. The habits just to say, oh, I'd rather not do it, or just the inclination, just the not being able to raise the energy and enthusiasm to be able to do something. So I would reflect. Were there any times that I didn't do that I could improve upon? I think, okay, yeah, maybe there was that one time where I could have helped, and I decided, no, I'm not feeling too lazy to do it. But maybe tomorrow I could. And then gradually giving becomes an ingrained habit. But then reflecting on all the times that we do help other people. Reflect, that's the great majority of throughout the day, times where I helped that person, or I helped that family member, I did this, I brought them here, gave them a ride, offered them advice. And then when we reflect on that, the natural result of that is it brings joy. Right? And this is an actual meditation technique called Chaganusati. While we reflect on the times that we've been generous and helpful and giving, not with the idea that, oh, I'm so wonderful because think of all the times that I help people throughout the day. It's not for that. That doesn't really. That's not the natural result. If we look at it and we see, yeah, actually, we give ourselves credit for helping this person and making the sacrifice of time and effort. Because even if we're very generous and helpful, if we don't give ourselves credit for it, then the benefit is not really sinking in. And the benefit, the natural result of being generous is that we feel a sense of joy. And this is how we can concretely overcome fear. The emotion of fear and the emotion of joy cannot coexist. So when we're feeling inspired, when we're feeling joyous over the good things that we've done, when we derive a wholesome sense of self-respect based on what we've done, the natural result is that it starts to bring happiness. course, having a standard of morality that we try to uphold, very important. 5 precepts, of course, is the standard we recommend for people. It's actually very profound. Even if everyone in the world just kept the first precept, the world would be transformed. And there are many people who are very dedicated, and they, most of the time, will keep 5 precepts. Or they keep 2, 3, 4. But again, at the end of the day, reflect back. Reflect back on how that's affected our life. The times where we decided not to kill the insect, and we took that extra time just to gather a spider on a piece of paper and take it out, right? The times where we would have been able to justify lying or twisting the truth, but we decided, no, I'm actually just going to be 100% truthful here. Right? So then again, at the end of the day, we can reflect back. Before you go to bed, reflect on our level of sila throughout the day and the benefits that come from that. If it just becomes a habit, even if it's a good habit, then we don't derive the maximum benefit possible. So reflecting on our sila, recognizing, well, yes, this is actually quite worthy of respect. Anybody living by 5 precepts, or of respect for life, or respect for truth, respect for clarity, everything the 5 precepts are encouraging. We may respect that in other people, but somehow when it comes to ourselves, we think, oh, no. So it is helpful to consciously bring to mind the goodness that we've done, the goodness that we live in our lives. And what's the natural result of that? Again, a sense of wholesome self-esteem, a sense of joy, happiness, feeling good about life, and knowing that whatever is going to happen in the future, which is out of our control, then at least by doing as much goodness as possible, we are creating the causes for positive results in the future. So these are things we can do every day. These are very practical things. Every day there's innumerable opportunities for developing dana and sila. And then when you walk down the street and you see this person, and that person, you think, oh, perceptions arise, this person looks likable, this person not so much. Maybe this person well-dressed, looks like well-to-do, well-educated, handsome or beautiful. They must have it together, right? Or this person looks very likable, very jolly. Some people are frowning, some people scowling, some people look like they don't have their act together at all. And yet these perceptions that we have of other people, which are projected from our own misunderstanding, are very limiting. They limit us. They subtly cause harm to our own heart. Because the reality is, even the people that we see in the street that seem to have their act together the most, when you really look, when you really know people, you realize that everyone has suffering, just like we do, right? Everybody. And sometimes intense suffering that we don't see on the surface. Right? So that helps to break the barrier down, between other people and ourselves. Just like we have suffering sometimes, or fear, anxiety, difficulties in life, physical pain, these people do as well. Even the ones who seem to have it all. And then the people who are maybe not so likable, don't seem to have their act together, in a bad mood, right? Really paying close attention and empathizing with them, you recognize their heart, my heart, really no different, right? Right? And then it starts to break down these limiting barriers between us and other people, and how we view other people, and how we tend to divide people up. And the natural result of that is we start to feel a greater sense of community, greater sense of connection with others, greater sense of liberation within our own heart. As soon as our minds begin to expand, naturally we start to feel a sense of peace and spaciousness. Having limiting perceptions of others, very limiting perceptions of ourselves, locks us into a very narrow worldview. So regularly practicing this, having a sense of goodwill towards other people. Even sometimes the people we see every day, we start to take them for granted. Even the people we like, after a while we start to take them for granted. Yeah? It's natural. So it takes a little effort. It takes a little effort to rise up. And it takes effort to tune in to people's suffering. This is the essence of compassion. It takes effort. It takes a little time. Sometimes it's easier just not to look. We see someone's having a difficult time, but it's easier just to, I don't have time for that. Right? But how much time does it take just to empathize? How much time does it take just to bring up a sense of, I feel your pain. In that way, all human beings are alike. All beings share that. So these are things that we can do practicing every day, every single day, from the time we get up in the morning until the time we go to bed at night. And then we are doing what is necessary to prepare for an uncertain future. And what's the result? We're not bound by fear, we're not bound by anxiety for the future. We start to feel a sense of joyous happiness, knowing that we're doing everything we can. We're doing everything we can possible with our life that we have. Whatever situation we find ourselves in, we're doing everything we can to create the causes for our future well-being. And every day, we develop a continuity of awareness. This quality of mindfulness, which we talk about a lot. Mindfulness, or clear awareness, paying close attention. Right? In everything that we do, it's easy to say, just be mindful all the time, but it's not so easy. So practically, what we can do is to take certain things throughout the day and say, well, I'm going to make this into meditation. I live a busy life. I don't have time to spend hours in meditation. But I do have time to drink. So when we're feeling thirsty and we pick up a cup, how do we do it? Are we scattered? We're looking around, thinking of something else? Distracted on our phone? We do that and we miss so much of life. Now, it doesn't take any longer just to be fully aware. Sensation of thirst, the decision to raise the cup, bringing it to one's lips. sensation of the water in one's mouth, sense of gratification. It's good. I'm actually thirsty.